Thanks, Anton, for joining the amazing Next Generation Marketing podcast. And we would really start with knowing how you got into influencer marketing.
Thanks for having me. You want a long story? You want short story? Okay. Story was it's all started 2015, I think. 15, 1, 5, not 2050. We haven't get there yet. So basically, by that time, I used to live in Spain, in Valencia, and I had to close. I had the bar where people get too much drink and get drunk, more or less, and I had to close it because it was on a tail of 2008 crisis. It still was huge economical difficulty in Spain in particular, and I wasn't able to survive. So I wasn't able to survive and moved to back to Kiev, and I had some projects in IT, in IT project. Well, we talk about that. I graduated university. It was a long time ago. As a mathematician, I did some programming, but it was really a long time ago. So it was directly connected, but still. So I had a project in IT, but this project couldn't survive at that time, because I said 2015 I started marketing, but I left Spain 2012 actually. So it was 2012, and we were preparing this project, but it was a IT project between Russia and Ukraine. At that, now it is a war. It is all open war.
Yeah.
But at that time, a relation soared, and actually the project was cancelled right away because it was impossible at that time. So I didn't know what to do, right? And I started teaching people English and Spanish. And you can't get fortune by teaching people, especially in Ukraine, English and Spanish. But yeah, I had to do something, and trying to cut the story. So I met. I was employed for web promo. For Ukraine, it's reasonably big, but obviously it's a small company. And this company, the idea for that company, this SEO, mainly SEO company, but they were doing a lot of courses and everything. And they were popular in Ukraine. The modus operandi where they were producing webinars. And after that, they call and try to recruit everyone who attend the webinar to buy their courses, SEO, PPC, whatever courses. And it was in the local language, but they decided that they can do it in English as well as modus operandi. So I was employed to refresh the guy who wanted to do, the guy who was brain behind it, wanted to do it. He wanted to do it himself, doing webinar SEO or whatever, marketing webinars in English, and he wanted to refresh his English to do that. So we were trying to improve his English, and it was for me very clear it's a long way for him. And I had thought it would be easier to teach me, okay, not to teach me marketing, but to show me a little bit about marketing. And it would be much faster. And I could do that instead of him really getting English at that point. He actually now he speaks very well, but it was 2015. Yeah. So, the idea was for me was very clear, but most of the people, they don't like to accept someone else's idea, especially if their original idea is in a contrary. But people really love their own idea. So what I did, I kind of, not literally, of course, I kind of left this idea on a table. I mentioned a couple of things. So I left this idea on the table, not literally. And 2 weeks later, the guy just when I came to another class, he came and said, "Look, I have a better idea. Why don't we teach you marketing? And you do it instead of you teaching me English." And he thought it's his idea. People love their own idea. And I say, wow, great idea. Why didn't I think this way? Yeah, it's how it all started. So I started doing marketing, mostly SEO webinars in English, knowing absolutely nothing. So I didn't know a single thing. Okay, I read obviously what SEO stands for and a couple of things, but otherwise just completely blank. It's how all started, but I was lucky. I was lucky meeting very, very nice and very knowledgeable people. One of the first interview I made in a webinar was with Bill Slavsky, now late. Bill Slavsky, unfortunately, he died already, and I was absolutely no one. And he was a huge star in SEO at that time, but he agreed to do interview with me, and he was very, very helpful and open and everything, which it helps me to really say, oh, I can do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Barry Schwartz was one of the next, and in content marketing, Joe Pulitzer as well. So those people really influenced me how to deal with that, and this is how all started. So I was doing this webinar. Idea was slightly different, but doing those webinars, I actually thought about it, and I thought, well, this is a great idea. You get people who can influence not only you, but who can influence their own audience and more than the audience, and you let them speak. You don't really tell them what to do. They know much better. People like Bill Slavsky or Barry Schwartz, Alei Salis, for example, they know much better what to speak, what to say than you do. So you don't instruct them. You just let them do that. They love it, usually, especially if you can accommodate another people in a screen, so as everyone's happy and everything. Okay, I can talk about this for Olympics, so you just stop me when
Okay.
and I thought we probably shouldn't do webinars with idea of because what most of the people do webinars to get leads, to get
Yes. Yeah.
leads. So this typical, and we were doing this exactly this. So you just go with the webinars, you promote it somewhere or another, you get leads, and after that you start bombard those leads with, okay, buy this from me, and usually it doesn't really work, especially if people just never heard about you. You're not a Coca-Cola, not a brand name. You're a small company. You just started. People don't know you. As they went to webinar might be good, but it doesn't mean that they have to buy from you something. So I thought about that, and I thought that maybe we should do it slightly different way. And the main idea for doing webinars is to approach influencers, approach experts, to make them happy, to convert them into friends, personal friends, brand friends, and eventually convert them into brand advocate. Obviously, if someone doesn't like your product, and the problem with web promo at that time, there's this company, they didn't have any product, so it didn't go. But I moved to SEMrush, one of the major SEO tool, and obviously they did have a product. So and it was very important that your expert is kind of is like your product or might like, because SEO tools, they have some preference. So some people, there's SEMrush people, some people Ahrefs people, and some other. And usually it's absolutely impossible if you hard follow, for example, Ahrefs, hard follow, to move you from Ahrefs to SEMrush. Usually absolutely impossible.
Agreed.
Because your heart is, it's like a you with Apple, you will not go to Android. With Android, you probably won't go to Apple. This kind of things. Even, for example, SEMrush and Ahrefs are both absolutely fantastic tools. If your expert originally is not against your tool, if he or she is against your tool and everything, or against your product, just don't waste your time. This is my experience, because you'll spend a lot of time, but it will be all waste, because his heart is somewhere else and with a competitor. But otherwise, if expert is open for it, so this is the idea: get expert, expose his knowledge to audience, if you can bring the audience, which is very important for expert. Make him comfortable, add someone else, because I've noticed SEO experts really like to share their knowledge, and like to share, to like to have a good conversation. So this is good. So make them comfortable, make them love it, and after that befriend them, and it goes, and at the end you can you can, I don't want to say word use them, because it's a usually it's a cooperation, so win-win situation, but you can get a lot of things from expert who is loyal to you, to your company, and to your product. Of course, you have to go extra mile and help him or her do a lot of things, very often not necessarily connected with your company or with your product.
Right. I'll just go a bit off track the questionnaire, but you brought a very interesting topic of building a relationship with a brand influencer or a friend or a person, and then see if he really fits with the brand. And then when you build that relationship, then you leverage on his expertise and his influencer, audience, and make your brand reach out through him. So do you think this is more applicable in the type of companies you have worked with? And while we see a lot of fast influencer marketing happening with TikTok and Instagram, where people hire 100 influencers to post about products, can that sort of relationship be really brought to the FMCG or consumer goods products, or they require like different strategies? What's your opinion?
I think they're very different, very different way of doing things. Okay, how people now understand influencer market, and there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong. People they find influencer. Usually it's Instagram, but could be anything else. And you have a product. You have a product. This is what you're selling. So basically, I'm giving you my product, and I'm giving you money. I'm giving you money, and we agree that you will do, I don't know, video, 2 videos, whatever. So you do it, and realistically, and I'm not trying to put it as a negative, you don't care about product. Well, unless you completely against, but otherwise you don't care. You don't really care. You got product, you do your video, everything. You got your money, and that's it. So this is trade things. I give you money, you give me your video. Nothing wrong with that. It might work. It works in many cases. Fantastic. And I call it PPC way of doing influencer market. PPC, exactly. If you pay money, you get traffic. Hopefully, you got conversion and everything. And if you get more money in terms of more profit than you spend on advertisement, fantastic. Why not? Go ahead. It's immediate effect. Yeah, fine. What I was explaining, why I'm mostly doing, I'm building a relationship. Takes a long time usually, and the effect is sometimes it's not very clear. But I know everyone is asking, and you will be asking about KPI. It's a very, very difficult question. When you selling product through the influencer, it's very clear. Very clear. What's traffic? What's conversion rate? And eventually, how much money you gain? How much money you spend? All very clear. With building the relationship, it's not that clear, and sometimes you can get things. Sometimes you can get things you never expected. I'll tell you one funny story, maybe not funny, interesting story, something, and it's very, very difficult to track. And for me, it's always a problem, because obviously bosses, and it's you can understand, they pay you salary, you have some budget and everything, the kind of thing. What we get in return, and very often it's very, very, very difficult to say, okay, we done work with this influencer. He spoke on that conference. He used in SEMrush case. He used our data. In Do the case, he used Do the as a, for example, as a, how much we sold. We don't know. We don't know. Very, very difficult to judge and everything.
Yeah.
And this is a huge problem, of course, for me and for anyone who does it. But something sometimes happens, and you can bring and say, look, here we are. So, for example, we've done a few webinars with Bing, in particular with Fabrice Canel, who is a senior programming manager, senior engineer. He's in the Seattle office. We were talking about, for example, it was a couple of years ago when Bing introduced Index Now protocol. Index Now protocol basically every if you have a page, in order to be search visible, site has to be indexed by Google or Bing in this case, but it works very similar. Index means Bing or Google through the site and put it in a database, because if it's not in a database, Google's or Bing's database, it's not searchable. Nobody can find you through the Google or Bing search. So to be indexed and to be indexed very quick is very important, especially for companies with a hot stuff like news companies. So, for example, something happened today. In 2 days' time, it might not be news. Nobody's interested. So you have to be indexed now. So Bing introduced Index Now protocol, basically where you can actually ping Bing and tell Bing, oh, index me now, right now is very important. Okay, I'm not going to go into details. So we were doing some webinar with Fabrice, not on Index Now. Index Now protocol wasn't even launched and wasn't even known about it. So they were working on it. And Fabrice, just in the conversation, I can't remember before webinar or after webinar, he told me about that, and I said, no, well, and he also said maybe Duda wants to check it before we launch it, and maybe Duda want to adopt it. Duda is a CMS, so CMS is obviously a system you use, software you use to build sites on. So I said, well, why not? Seems to be a good idea. So we put our engineers with Microsoft, with Bing engineers, and Duda actually build things inside the Duda itself before they even been they even announced it. Always everything was on NDA and everything, but the day they announced it, Duda was already adopted it. And of course they said, okay, Duda is already adopted it, and now, and it's Microsoft blog and everything. So every time now Microsoft write an article about Index Now protocol, they mentioned Duda, because Duda was the first, absolutely first CMS which adopted it. So why it happened? It happened because I know Fabrice, and we have we didn't have like trade communication, so we just had not normal, because it's all online. But nowadays, after COVID, online is all fine. Nobody care. So we didn't have a coffee in Seattle, but we had this free conversation, and things happened because of that. So, and every time, as I said, every time now, and for us, it's enormous PR exercise, which we didn't really see as a PR at the time, but it happened. Why it happened? Because we had this relationship. Yeah,
I think the results may not be very tangible every time, where you get to see all the statistics and metrics at the end of a campaign or a webinar, but some things like these, where you are building relationships with people, inviting them on webinars, having events with them, and then sometimes something comes up, you join together forces, and then something great comes out for the company, for yourself, and for both the parties. So I think
yeah.
it's really interesting.
also, if you have a clever, smart, knowledgeable people on your platform, and you let them speak whatever they want to speak,
Mm-hmm.
they very often speak interesting. They very often give
Yeah.
you interesting things. So, for example, we had a webinar very recently, 3 weeks or months ago, with Martin Split from Google, and it was about rendering. But
Yep.
he mentioned just slightly. It wasn't really talking about AI, but nowadays whatever you talk, you cannot talk about AI. So he kind of mentioned how the if rendering AI content is different from not AI. It was just probably like 5 minutes of web, maybe even less. But one of the news writer at Search Engine Journal, Roger Monti, he watched the webinar and he saw this. And he saw that and he published an article almost immediately about this AI. It was a small, not article, post in Search Engine Journal. And it was not about Dudu, of course, it was about Martin Split, Google, actually, talking about this. But it was on a Dudu webinar, so obviously we got
Yeah.
mentioned, we got linked to our webinar and everything. So, okay, this is another thing. It's why we never ever, especially if you know, if you bring a real good great expert, you never ever explain him or her what you should do, what you should
Mm.
talk. No, they
Yeah.
know better. They know much better than I do. I'm not an expert. They are experts. So let them speak.
And that's the one webinar where you got really a lot of views because of this post. Is it this one? There was a webinar you mentioned, like.
No, yeah, okay, no, this was recent. This has I think 4,000 something views, which was not
Mhm.
not 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 too bad, but because rendering is really very 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 technical, so maybe that
Hmm.
no, but yeah, I had, but it was a long time ago. We had a webinar. It was before my actually SEMrush time. So it was on my very very beginning. I think it was 2015 or 16. We had a webinar with Google, with another Google. I was Andrei Lipatsev, Google Andrei Lipatsev, and the webinar actually was about, if you remember, at that time, and Bloomberg published an article, Rank Brain, because they introduced Rank Brain algorithm at that time, and they say,
Mhm.
and Rank Brain algorithm, they say, is a ranking factor. And Google never before said anything about ranking factors. It was all speculation. It's still speculation, of course, but now it's probably real. Ranking factor is a ranking factor because it's much more complicated. Google improved so much, but at that time people were really keen to know what's a ranking factor,
Mm.
what ranking factors are. And during this webinar, we're talking about a Bloomberg article, Rank Brain, and Bloomberg stated as a ranking factor. And Amon Jones, who was one of the panelists, he asked he asked Andrei Lipasov, okay, what are the ranking factors? And Andrei Lipasov said, and it's on record, first time on record, Google mentioned ranking factors. And he said, ranking factors are Rank Brain, as already mentioned, links and the content. So basically, he mentions three of them,
Mhm.
and everyone knew that, of course, but Google never admitted it on record. So it was the
Mhm.
first time, happened on my webinar. Okay, happened on this webinar. Barry Schwartz, which is, well, if you don't know who Barry Schwartz, you're not on the right industry. SEO, one of the main source of SEO news and information. Barry is a brilliant SEO
Yep.
journalist. He watched that webinar. He and he immediately write a small article on his surround table, and after later on search engine land, I think was bigger article, but he immediately write, and he said, and he put a link, and it was, I think, in a minute 8 or some, I can't remember. So and he published it. Obviously Barish what has reached, I mean, reach of our webinar was absolutely not comparable to what Barry could reach. Even at that time, today, he he probably 10 times more. So I woke up next day. I decided to check webinar, and I said 30,000 views. 30,000, and before we get like 300 views on the next day, maybe it was going up like 1,000, maybe 2,000 eventually, but next day 30,000. I think it's probably some glitch, but after that I realized that Barish was published, and it was never ever happened, and it really realistically was nothing. It's not particular news. Everyone knew, but Google admitted on record. Barish was picked it up, and well, we got this result. Yeah.
That's really one memorable situation you have in your career as a
It is. It is.
marketing.
Even as I said, nothing. But yeah,
Yeah.
those kind of things happens. Not very often, but something smaller than that happens. So you
Yeah.
jump not, but some yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, this is a side effect of not using, having a great people on your live streams.
Yeah, yeah, nice. Okay, so moving forward, so how do you structure your influencer marketing efforts in your current role, or if you have some structure in general, irrespective of which company you're working on? How do you go about influencer marketing for the company you're
Okay,
working with?
what you mean by structuring, but obviously you have to find the field where you put your effort. So when I was at SEMrush, was kind of understandable that mainly SEO people, but
Yeah.
also content marketing and PPC, because SEMrush had a tool so in this. When I moved to Duda, I wasn't really sure, and I thought, for example, maybe web designers would be a good idea, because as just to remind, do this CMS, you build the websites with it. And I try to get into these communities in plural. That was a major problem. I web designer and understand. And after months or two trying, I realized I'm barking on the wrong tree. Why? First, SEO community, for example, SEO, in less extent, content marketing and PPC, but SEO community is basically a thriving community. It's one community, more or less, if you're speaking about English language. And we know where it lives. It used to live on Twitter. Now I can't say it lives on X. Now it's trying to find a place, but still. Web design is completely different. Web designers communities in plural, they segmented by platform. So, for example, web designers on WordPress. It's a huge community, but it's not
I'm
for
sure.
Duda, or not for Duda. And going there and trying to say, hey guys, let's try Duda, you will be just annihilated.
Okay.
Completely destroy, because most of the WordPress people who've been with WordPress for 10 or 15 years, they know WordPress very well and everything. They would not even look at something else. They would say WordPress is better. It's like similar to, or someone with an Apple, with a Macintosh, say it's much better, and he won't even look at it. And most of the people like this. Duda has own community, obviously much smaller than WordPress, but all community. And if you talk to this community, they said we all moved from WordPress to Duda, and it was the best thing we ever done. So this was a wrong audience. So after that, I tried to understand who would be the right audience. But if you're talking about what's the Duda, for example, difference with WordPress. WordPress is much more flexible, and you can do probably much. You can do much complex size with, but if you're talking about small medium business, the size who fit the requirements of small medium business, with Duda you can do probably 3 to 4 times faster than with WordPress. For web designer, if he is in-house designer or agency design, it doesn't really matter, because he's not paid per size. He's paid usual salary and everything. So for him or for her to moving from one to another. No real motivation. But for people who are on a level counting money, for agency, for example, or for company, it's mainly for agencies counting money. So they think, okay, with that amount of size we were planning to do, we need 3 times less designers, for example, or we can do it 3 times faster. So, and it's all money. So if you can get this message through to the C-level, you can see the interest. And designers would be wrong audience. I'm not really sure I answer your question about structure.
My question was around like how do you approach or how do you think about marketing for Duda? Like, what are the type of ideas? Like, actually, you answered it perfectly. Like, you are trying to reach out to the the web designer community, and trying to get their attention. So, are there ideas in your mind which are again not conventional influencer marketing? But how do you go about figuring out how to tap
Yeah,
into
okay.
different audiences?
When I work for SEMrush, SEMrush was and still is, of course, known, very known in a niche. So everyone who is dealing with SEO, they know what SEMrush is,
Absolutely.
obviously. So we didn't need to get really brand. Oh, yes, it's still always improvement for brand awareness. Of course, it is, but for major part of your potential clients, brand awareness was not really necessary. It was already there. As I said, improving is always good, but it's all there. So what you need to convert brand awareness into brand loyalty and getting trust.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's what we were trying to get with bringing influencers. So when influencer, because when you have an influencer on your platform, whatever it is, it's live stream, it's a conference, it's an article in a blog and everything, you kind of make a connection between this influence and your brand and your logo. So, but obviously for SEMrush, the point was getting extra trust using this influencer.
Hmm.
Duda in a completely different position. Duda is not that known. So for Duda, brand awareness is as very important. So obviously bringing people from Google or not Google or Bing or any other people who has audience and knowledgeable people. For example, if you're working with SEO, which is easier for me because I know a lot of people used to be working with SEO community. Every agency or people who are doing web design this way or another, they connected with SEO, because there is no point to have a website if it's not visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe in some points there is, but most of it, 99%,
Yeah.
you publish a site in order to get traffic as well.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
SEO is involved, which means if SEO people would know about Duda, they might. It's different company. They ask SEO advice on a different stage. Smart companies ask SEO advice before doing anything. So those smart people might be, and it works. Might be say, okay, which one we use, and SEO people say, okay, we know this is advantage of this advantage of this. So if obviously if you look at the market, how many CMS on the market? Enormous amount.
Hmm.
Just absolutely enormous amount. And
Yeah.
obviously everyone knows, say, WordPress. And Wix is a huge company. Not
Yeah.
everyone knows Duda, but we notice that we doing our work. And brand awareness is not only about influencer marketing, it's about many channels, of course. But influencer marketing channel is a very good channel, because you're trying to project trust immediately. So and
Hmm.
it works. It works. So you bring in those people, they they're not selling Doodle. They're talking about what they know best. But still, you have kind of association because they're talking on a Doodle platform. It brings, usually it builds up what we build up a loyal audience. And this loyal audience has, on the first step, nothing to do with Doodle. For example, if we're talking about, I don't know, SEO, some particular things, and people watch a webinar and say, "Oh, it's a great webinar," and they're more likely to go and to visit our webinar page and maybe to attend another webinar and maybe another webinar, and this way you get trust, but not to your product, but to the name and everything. And obviously, some of them probably, most of them will say, "Okay, yeah, webinars are great. I love it. Yeah, what do they do? What do they do?" So, and they would look at your product with some already trust gain. Not trust to your product, but trust to your name. Trust is extremely important. People, I'm pretty sure you do. I do. We buy products we trust. We have some trust to particular names, and when it's completely, so for example, you buying products Amazon, you kind of know if you order it on Amazon, it will be here. Your credit card probably most likely would not be written off, and if something wrong, you can send it back and everything. I use and if I see the same thing somewhere in e-commerce I never heard about, and it's slightly cheap, not substantial, not half of the price, but slightly cheaper. I'll go for Amazon. I know for sure. So trust is extremely important.
Yeah, definitely agreed on that. Rather than forcefully selling products, I think if you build trust with your audience as a brand, as an influencer, it has a much better and long-lasting impact as compared to
Yeah,
just
it's
forcefully.
long lasting, but at the same time, it takes longer
It
time.
takes time, yeah. But then you get an audience who is loyal and then becomes your brand advocate as well. So the effects are stronger, but yes, it takes longer
You
time.
probably should use both as like SEO and PPC. That's why I call, for example, the way
Mm-hmm.
we do influence marketing, I call it SEO way, which has
Yeah.
nothing to do with SEO, but it's a establish a longer relationship. It takes longer to start, but probably lasts longer, which is
Mm.
how SEO works. SEO to get any kind of tangible result probably needs 3 months to 6 months, but it probably goes and goes. And PPC, you can get result basically immediately if everything right, but it stops as soon as you stop paying.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you should
Yeah.
use both. Yeah.
Mm. So, what are the pain points or what are the hardships that you experience currently in the way influencer marketing is done, or just I'll drop the word influencer, but just how you approach marketing in today's world, in today's time? What are the major pain points that are really bothering you most of the time that you would like to be solved, or your opinion on those hardships?
We already mentioned that KPI is difficult.
Hmm.
Also would be nice to have an influence. There are plenty of platforms and everything trying to help you find the right influencer, but so far I found most of them very mechanical because the
Yeah.
easy thing, for example, I don't know how many followers on Twitter is easy to account, or how many impressions and everything. Those are easy, but first they could be manipulated, and secondly, it's sometimes it's not exactly giving you your picture. I remember I was talking
Hmm.
to, we were doing a long time ago with one guy on Twitter, and he had like, I can't remember, 1 million or 2 million followers, and he tweeted a few times webinar, and we never had any response. So maybe was all fake or something, because I would think 1 million followers is just you tweet it
Yeah.
once and that's it. Yeah. So unfortunately, there is no obvious way how you can
Hmm.
evaluate. How can you? But would be great. It used to be a software called Cloud with K, but it wasn't really very good. It didn't survive. And usually you put, I think it was based on Twitter as well. You put Twitter handle of an influencer and it gives you number, whatever number. I can't remember, from 0 to 100 or something like that. Well, it probably was very mechanical as well. So it would be great to have this. And I'm pretty sure with AI on a market right now, it won't be very long before we can do it much better evaluation for influencer for particular industry or for particular direction. So this would be a great. Also, another thing where it's more or less all the same, attribution. So, for example, you have an influencer, and this influencer went on to offline conference, for example, and we're doing something and mention you, or and people even maybe ask, can you explain why you mentioned? I say, okay, I've done this, and as those people are interested, they go and check and everything. So how can you track it? You can't track it. So other things you might be able to track it in the future. I don't know. For example, somebody mentioned you in his or her email blast and everything. If it's with a link, especially with affiliative link, which most of the big influencers, they don't do, because big influencers want to be neutral. Because as soon as you're affiliate of something, people say, okay, you're saying good things about this because you're getting paid.
Yeah. That's the first assumption.
Yeah, it's why many big influencers, big experts, they don't want to be affiliates. They don't want this money because they think as soon as they lose kind of neutrality, trust, and it's not good for them. So, but attribution model is difficult, impossible, and we don't know. So, for example, if you look at your traffic, you can see the huge part of the traffic, it would be direct traffic. It's when people already know where they're going direct. Also, you have to count brand search. Brand search sometimes is the same, actually, because, for example, you want to go to do the okay, do this very short, but never mind. SEMrush is longer. So instead of putting semrush.com, you lazy, you just put SEMrush. You click it, and system count it as a brand search. But realistically, it's the same as direct traffic. You just were lazy. But it's not 100% of this, but still correlation, quite correlation. So and I'm pretty sure most of the traffic, at least 1/3 would be direct traffic, and if you add some branding search, would be even more. And direct traffic, we call it direct traffic, or they call it direct traffic, because basically they don't know where it comes. So it's not attributed. If you could attribute this direct traffic, at least some of it, attribute to word of mouth or anything which is connected to influence marketing, would help us a lot, especially to show our bosses, hey guys, see, we got, I don't know, that million clicks, and out of that million clicks, I don't know, that many thousands of clicks is because our influencers mention us.
I think those things should improve with the new technologies coming in. And I think
I'm pretty sure AI would help, but because now it's another trend on a privacy, and it's a huge trend, GDPR, CCPA in California, and sooner or later it will be more or less everywhere, and probably will be even tougher laws with all these privacy things. Cookie, for example, just take a cookie. So search an engine, and all of us, we will have less information, less personal information, which would make it more difficult to attribute any particular move.
Yeah, I
So
think
I don't,
already there's a lot of personal data that's out there you're not aware of. And it's, as you said, it's just a matter of time when the laws get more and more stringent towards data privacy of individuals. So hopefully that comes in, and our information is more protected. But again, I think that brings
Yeah,
us
but
to
it's kind of yeah.
yeah.
You have less. You will have eventually much less personal information. You will have a bulk
Hmm.
information, but personal information you will have much less. But
Yeah.
because you have AI, and probably AI would really help you to work with all this data, so you might slightly improve this. So one goes this direction, one goes that direction. We don't know eventually if we can get. But I've the attribution model for this kind of things
Hmm.
never been there. So we've seen some attempt, but nothing hasn't
Yeah,
happened. So
not there
far,
yet.
I only can, as I say, keep your eye on all these metrics. I only can say, hey guys, we have this things, and this thing, if we have, for example, this webinar, for example, and this webinar comes to article in, not our article in search engine journal, for example, if it's about search. And because we
Hmm.
have this article, we have extra exposure and everything, but quantify things not easy.
Yeah, quite tricky, especially in deep web. Yeah, and I think that touches more or less on the last question or last segment of this session as well. That what are the bigger opportunities and challenges in the marketing industry? So attribution is one big challenge we can definitely agree on. If that gets solved to a certain extent, that would help a lot in quantifying a bit more precisely your marketing efforts rather than just straight numbers coming from engagements and impressions. Are there any other things you really look forward to that may get solved in the next 10 years, which would really help in the marketing industry? How do you see the future coming
You're
up?
talking about influencer marketing or
Yeah,
just general? Because if you're talking about general, obviously AI is a huge factor, and we don't know what will happen.
what it can do. Yeah.
And we had a webinar with Andy Cristadina
Yes. Yes.
yesterday, and he said all people about AI divided into three groups. First, the haters. Oh, first of all, one group of haters. They say, no. I'm only for people. I hate AI. No, let's just forget about AI. Another group is waiters. The wait. What happened? What happened if it goes well? They will adopt. And the last one, I forgot which word he used, but he is kind of updaters, upgrade people who jump immediately, learn, try to use, and
Yeah.
always those people who right now using it, learning it, and try to explore it, they will get a lot of traction because of that, and they would be on the top. So if someone, for example, wanted to get things, how to do many things with ChatGPT AI, I would recommend Andy Cristadina to watch his
Hmm.
webinars and articles. He's absolutely fantastic, and he's belongs to this part who's trying, learning, and experimenting. So it's about AI. AI would not really affect that much influencer marketing, at least influencer marketing, what I religiously follow, which is I call SEO way, because it's based on
Mm.
personal relationship.
Yeah.
So in personal relationship, AI won't help because, for
Yeah, it won't
example,
help.
I never use templates for email writing to people. I just type it. I just physically type it. Of course, it limits my ability to send emails. But if
No,
you
but
want to build a personal relationship, there is no way you can have personal relationship with 2,000 people. It's just impossible. Even with 200, it's
mm,
impossible. So you usually have just a nucleus of people which you have bigger, there's more relation, you exchange, you do things. With slightly more people, you have less, and the rest of them you don't. Because of course you can put it in an industrial way and doing everything. And in this case, AI will help you enormously, of course, writing all those emails and even making some emails slightly more personal or look like more personal. It will, but this is another way of doing it. By the way, many companies, especially big companies, prefer this way with templates and everything, industrial way, put it this way, and not only because of the efficiency, because I would think personal way is much more efficient because people hate templates, people understand, you know them, people much more experts, much more open to do things for you, for personally, for you, because they know, and to allocate, I don't know, 30 minutes or half an hour, or 30 minutes, half an hour, the same thing, 1 hour, something, for you, because they know you. When they receive a email, clearly template email from what do the team, or from SEMrush team, or from Mez Inc. team, it's a different story. But big corporation, I've noticed and I've seen it. They sometimes scary about giving one person or several persons too much of an influence inside the company. So just imagine, you in Mezink, you have someone who knows all this influencer, like you, for example. You're talking to influencer, you know them personally. I don't know, you sending them birthday cards and everything, and they know you. They reply to your name and everything. Just tomorrow you leave the company. What happened? There is a huge hole, and it would be for company would be reasonably difficult to fill it, because all those influencers is a new guy or new girl, they don't know and everything. So it's why many companies, including SEMrush, for example, they prefer to go and to do it industrial way, less personal way. I think it's less effective, but first, it could be easy scale.
It's
You can
easily
scale it,
scalable.
and with AI, it could be even much easier to scale eventually, and it's much safer for company, because if you leave, no one notice.
No, agreed. I would definitely agree with your style, where you have a personalized way of
I'm not
sending
trying. I'm not trying to
emails.
say no, no.
I mean, there are
Don't
two
take me wrong.
different
I'm not
things.
trying to say it's two ways. You should
Yeah,
take this or that. No, you should do
yeah.
both. It's like if your company, you do SEO and you do PPC, and if someone says no, it's wrong. Forget about PPC. Do only SEO. Or if someone says SEO, no, just PPC. It's wrong. You
Yeah,
should do both, and you should do content marketing. Which content marketing and SEO is almost the same thing nowadays. You should do both, and more. You should use all the channels. I
yeah.
just say I'm doing this, and I think we are reasonably good at it. And I have no capacity to do that and that and that and that. But if company has a capacity, should go and do it.
Have to leverage on different strategies. But I'm a big fan of how your emails are so personalized, and even if it's 2 lines, it feels so well written and so personalized. You could almost feel connected just by reading the email. So I'm really appreciate how you write emails.
Yeah, because we're not idiots. You can't treat
Yeah.
none of our you can't treat other people as idiots. You send to you templates, and the only way you put his or her name over
Yeah.
there, or you put how you've been doing this. It doesn't
Yeah.
make your email personalized. Maybe, as I said, maybe with the AI, not today, maybe tomorrow,
Yeah. Maybe.
you could make, but you probably need to feed your, well, the software could be done so you can feed your email with all information which is available on particular person, and ask to personalize email.
Yeah.
And for example, if this person had newborn baby. AI probably start with this, how is your baby doing and everything, and maybe that you can actually make an impression that this email is written by someone. Also, other thing I didn't know about that, but Andy Christadina said what you can teach Chat GPT to get familiar with the style. So, for example, you can feed Chat GPT with, I don't know, with 200 emails you already written, and say, oh, get familiar with the style, and after that, oh, get familiar with the Anton's style. Written, my style is very simple. It's yeah,
it's fantastic.
but still it's style, because I'm not saying, oh, how you've been doing, we've been, yeah, just go straight to the point. But I love Barry Schwartz style. This is a very, very, very precise, straight to the point, and he actually usually immediately reply. If Barry Schwartz didn't reply to you immediately, it's either banking holiday or something, or it went wrong. You sent it to the wrong address. Okay, so but you can feed Chat GPT with, I don't know, 200 emails, or with, I don't know, 10 articles you or someone else. You can copy someone else stuff, or 10 articles someone else written, and say, okay, please do replicate, get familiar, and now rewrite this in the style of Seth Godin, for example. And AI, I don't know, good, very, very good, or not that good, but will imitate style. So maybe email marketing goes this way, and very soon you will be receiving a lot of emails about guest posts, but very, very personal ones. Now they're all shit, of course. They say just yeah, and it became a really, everyone know guest posts, because emails are so bad. But maybe very soon. And so maybe there will be no question about it. Very soon, all emails personal and everything. And I can't say it's bad, because you can't really go against technical progress, because we've seen I've seen almost every day, people saying AI should be prohibited, AI should be limited, and everything. It's impossible. As I say, if you, I don't know, well, it's like, before industrial revolution, before steam engine came to power, and when steam engine appeared, people probably, if you ask, people would vote and say, no, we have to prohibit steam engine, we have to prohibit locomotion, we have to boats, steamboats, everything, and we still would be in that economies, and you can't stop it. Or, for example, I'm pretty sure when mobile phones just get, a lot of people say, no, you should prohibit mobile phone, or smartphone. No, smartphones, but these old ones are fine, but smartphones, because why is bad? Or because people just live there, because people spend too much time, or because children they use a phone when they're 3 years old and something. There's just nothing you can do about it. You can try to improve things, but you still have to go with the stream. You can't stop it. So AI is a future of many things, but something you can't really do that. For example, personal relationship. AI, not gonna. You can do research on someone probably, but otherwise, it's still personal conversation, and makes so much difference. Of course, if you can do personal, not only online but offline, because I'm trying to, when I go to different city, I'm trying to meet someone, if someone lives in for coffee or something, and it's fantastic. It proves your relationship with person. So, for example, we only met with you twice today, second time online, or if we would be able to have a coffee and just have a conversation, it would be obviously improve our relationship. It's not always possible, but those, in this case, AI won't help you, but that's fine. Yeah.